to be at the top at both of those, essentially. Like, it's
Dan, another farting Dan Orlovsky situation just took place.
Danny Dumb.
You just farted into the...
Danny Dumb.
What do you mean? It's unbelievable.
No.
Your butt was just talking.
We heard it.
Your butt just farted into the phone again like you in Monday Night Football.
Oh, no.
That's what just happened.
What do you mean?
You remember Monday Night Football when you had your microphone and you went to sneeze and you banked down and it caught your fart?
Like, what do you?
No,
what do you,
it's not what you said.
Asshole just farted.
Your pants, Dad.
We heard your fart, brother.
We heard you fart.
We heard your fart, brother.
Yeah.
We heard your butt just fart in the middle of the tape.
I did not fart.
This is 2 times out there. This is the Orlovsky thing.
Fool me once, Dan.
Are you guys being serious right now, or are you messing with me?
Dan, we have the capabilities.
I would like to let the hockey
Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's had a great work week. We are closing in. We are exactly 3 weeks away from the NFL draft, something that's the only thing that the Cowboys have to look forward to, because the Cowboys aren't making trades. They don't do that, at least not major blockbuster trades like yesterday with Stephon Diggs and so on. And they don't sign big-name free agents, and they're okay with doing that. They believe that they are doing things the right way. As Stephen Jones once said, after the Rams had won the Super Bowl, we don't believe that that's the right way to build a team through free agency. Yeah, well, saying that to a team that has won multiple Super Bowls since the last time you did, you may want to check yourself. Now, I'm not going to say that everything that they do is wrong, because they are usually pretty good in the draft. Last year was more the exception than the rule. From that, it's just that they do good in the draft. They get an A for that, for what they do and the ability there, but they get an F in free agency in bringing in powerhouse players. It's just the way it is. The good thing, at least for the Cowboys, is they are doing their 30 visits. The thing you can say about the Cowboys is they like to get to know you before they draft you. And when you look at some of the big-name players that the Cowboys have drafted, they're all players that they have brought in. They get to know them. They bring them to facilities. They of course, check under the hood and things. Of course, get their doctors to look at them, because, they like to shop in the scratch and dent pile. And so you can get a gauge of where they're going. At least, here's what we can say. With the 30 visits that we have set up, they all are in positions and areas of need that we need, okay? We know we're probably bringing Zeke back with Rico, which isn't enough, okay? We need a running back. We also know that Tyron Smith is gone and B.A.M is gone. We definitely need another offensive lineman. Could it be a center? Could be a tackle? Could be a guard? They're in a position where they have some options. As long as they can get a legitimate day one starter, they should be okay on the offensive line. We know that we still probably could use another linebacker, and we need help on the defensive line. And you always, of course, are looking for that impact player, that edge rusher. Now, the Cowboys, this is one thing that Cowboys like to do, and sometimes they get laughed at when they do it. They like their first-round pick to be the top prospect in a position. It doesn't matter if they're drafting at 4, or it doesn't matter if they're drafting at 10, doesn't matter if they're drafting at 24. They want to have the best player in that position in draft. And they've done really, really well, because generally speaking, when the Cowboys have drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, they've been lights out. Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith. They've done incredible work with that. In fact, when you look at their first-round picks, the ones that didn't work out since 2010 would be Morris Claiborne, the man made of glass. That was his biggest problem, was he couldn't stay healthy. and Taco Charlton. But when you look at the Dez Bryants, the Micah Parsons, the C.D. Lambs, the Travis Fredericks, the Tyron Smiths, the Zach Martins, you've had incredible, Zeke Elliott's, you've had incredible success doing that philosophy. So here's what we have right now. Oregon State offensive tackle Telsa Figa, and I know I butchered his name, probably will be outside of the range of where the Cowboys will be able to pick. He'll probably be a top 15 pick. But then again, you never know what's going to happen in the draft. Typically, we know that there's going to be a run on quarterbacks. There's probably going to be 4 or 5 quarterbacks that are picked before the Cowboys. So, looking at from that number, take those off, okay? Forget quarterbacks. We're not drafting quarterback in the first round. Contrary to what the talking heads are out there are saying, we're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. So that technically, with all the other positions, kind of moves you to 19. Offensive left tackles are always off the board. Wide receivers and edge rushers. You'll have 2 or 3 of each of those positions gone, okay? Left tackles is a premium. So thinking that he's one of the top ones will probably be gone. Trey Benson. Now, this is one that is very, very intriguing. And, in fact, the Cowboys, I'm going to play some highlights. This is from Prince Highlights. Shout out to Prince Highlights. I'm going to play this in the background of Trey Benson. Trey Benson has been an absolute beast. 2 back-to-back 900-yard seasons. One of the top 3 running backs in the draft. The question will anybody look, besides the Cowboys, at drafting a running back in the first round? You definitely have the opportunity to getting one of the top prospects at running back. Now, the Cowboys would probably rather wait till the second round to draft a running back, purely because you really need an offensive lineman. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. You have a great running back, but if you don't have an offensive line, it's not as effective. You're picking at 57. And this is where you may look at this and say, maybe the Cowboys end up moving back and picking up some extra draft capital to try and get a couple of guys that are in the second round. Bucky Irvin, another day 2 type running back from Oregon. He's not as good as Trey is, but still would be an upgrade to where we are right now. Offensive lineman, if you're going by the philosophy of we want the number 1 guy at a position, center would definitely be one that you have plenty of options at, because most people don't draft centers in the first round. When the Cowboys moved back in 2012, I believe it was, trading with San Francisco and drafted Travis Frederick, most experts laughed. They said, oh, man, it's a center. You can get him in the second round later on, in the next couple of days and stuff. So just give me some time. They were also bringing in linebacker Junior Colson. He's, again, another day 2 prospect, 6'2", 238. He's got a little more meat on him than, of course, when we had a safety plan for us. Defensive end Darius Robinson. He's one of the bigger defensive ends at 6'5", 285. He is really good at stopping the run, and that may be what you need. Could be possibly an heir apparent to DeMarcus Lawrence right there. Graham Burton, offensive lineman, Duke, interior. So, again, he can play guard, maybe can play some center as well. And you look at a guy like that, it's position flex. Something that the Cowboys love is position flex. So there's another spot there where you can look at it and say, okay, that is a possibility of a guy who will be there. That's one of the top prospects that the Cowboys could use. And also, too, our third running back, Breelon Allen from Wisconsin, another big-bodied running back that's 6'1", 235 pounds, bruising, another day 2. So more than likely, the Cowboys should be able to get one of the 3 of those in the second round. We'll see how the run goes, because you never know how the draft's going to shape up. all of a sudden somebody drafts a guy in a position that people weren't expecting, then some people start panicking, saying, "Oh my God, okay, the guy we wanted is gone. We need to get our second option." And all of a sudden that position goes, and then you get a CeeDee Lamb that falls into your lap. So we'll have to see how all that goes. All of these guys are guys that would definitely be able to help you. The running backs would be a day one plug and play, which would be great. The offensive linemen, of course, we definitely need to find a replacement. The question will be will we keep Tyler Smith at guard? Ideally, that would be great. But if you don't have a top-tier tackle, you could move him out to tackle. You bring back Agoda, who is depth. He did start 6 games for us this past year. Not the best in the world, but maybe a year or two will get him used to the system and being able to play better. So that's where we are with that situation. Now, I have to admit that I am completely disappointed in the offseason. But how is this any different than any other offseason that we've had? This is the same stuff we always do. We never, ever do a lot in the offseason. So expecting the Cowboys to actually change what they're doing, maybe we're the ones that are insane, not the Joneses. They know we're going to still watch. We're still going to be fans of the team. We still them boys. I got too much Cowboys paraphernalia to start all over again, and it just is what it is. Here's ESPN's take on The Last Dance with Dak Prescott.
Your old team, the Cowboys, I kept saying, well, once they do something, as soon as the Cowboys do something, we'll call Swagoo and we'll get him on to react to it. Well, we never had to call you, Swagoo, because the Cowboys haven't done anything since last we spoke. What is your reaction? Is this the last dance with Dak? What do we say about the Cowboys?
We say nothing, because nothing has happened, G. And I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs thinking about, it's been a lot of off seasons where we talked about moves that's been made for the Dallas Cowboys, whether that be keeping their own guys or bringing guys in. All they've been doing this year is sending people away and doing absolutely nothing. I'm not going to shade Eric Kendrick's move. They needed a linebacker. Great, they got a linebacker, but they got nobody else, okay? And the problem is that I can go off on a tangent and go off on a rant about this. But we heard all in. Everybody heard it. The whole world heard it, because the whole world listens to what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. And ain't nothing been all in about this offseason outside of me riding past the store and going work out at Cowboy Fit up there because I get a discount because I'm a former Cowboy. And I'm around the facility, and I'm going to tell you what's happening around the facility, G. Nothing. Nothing's happening up there. It ain't nothing but a bunch of people enjoying the store up there in Frisco. We eating at the restaurants. I'm going to visit my store in J. Hilburn to get my suits made so I can get ready for next season. I'm working out at Cowboy Fit. They got a 50-yard line field. All the kids are playing. It's a wonderful facility. The Ford Center has been hosting high school athletes. They've been having camps. My son is training up there at the Sports Academy right next door to the store. And everybody around the facility of the Dallas Cowboys are doing something. But guess who ain't doing nothing? The Dallas Cowboys. I ain't seen no scouts. I ain't seen no GMs. I ain't seen no coaches. I haven't seen anything happen. I ain't seen the Brinks truck back up there for no free agent to sign. I ain't even seen Derrick Henry up there because Derrick Henry denies Baltimore. So nothing's going on. Guys, it's an off season. I don't know what we're going to do. There are no stories coming out outside of what they're going to do with Dak, and they probably going to extend Dak. I don't want to get into this, blow it all up. Quarterbacks ain't growing no trees. He's still a real good.
So, right, Tim, how about your perspective on all this?
That's my rant.
It's a good rant. Go, Tim.
Yeah. I don't. Well, my perspective is I don't get a discount because that's the one NFC team I was never on that roster. So I would just say this: look, I think that when I look at this situation at Dallas, look. Dak won this a while ago. When Dak was making $800,000 a year, and the Cowboys, were hesitant to pay him. I think they were trying to use the fact that he hadn't made much money, against him to sign an under-market deal. He played chicken with Jerry Jones, and he won. And because of that, he can continue to play well, get to the end of contracts, and so now they're in a bad spot because of the leverage that Dak has, and rightfully so from Dak's perspective. And so because of that, There's just certain things they can't do. Can't get involved in the Derrick Henry game or the A.J. Dillon game. Can't do that. Can't improve in some areas that Marcus is talking about in terms of in free agency. And so with that, look, this is the situation they're in. In some ways, guys, it reminds me a little bit like the Saints. When the Saints continued to pay Drew Brees and kind of extend things out as he got older. Now, the good thing for New Orleans was Brees continued to play at a really high level. In order for them to have any type of success as they extend this with Dak Prescott, because I think ultimately that's what they do, he needs to continue to play at a really high level or even play at a better level for them to have any success.
Dan.
Yeah, he played at a really high level all last year until the playoff game, right? So that's what's missing is the playoff success.
Nobody played well in the
I
playoff
don't
game.
think you can necessarily engineer in March with your moves. They need to be better in the run game and better at stopping the run, and they haven't really made a ton of moves to help in those areas, but the offseason is not over yet. In terms of Dak Prescott, I do believe ultimately they extend him. I'm just not sure that's going to get done this offseason. We've talked about this on the show for the last couple weeks. Financially, against the salary cap, it actually makes more sense to do it next offseason. Obviously, that carries risk. Will he want to go somewhere else? Will he have a bad year? Will things fall apart? But right now, I think the Cowboys feel like Dak's going to be there, and they're going to get CeeDee Lamb signed, and they're going to take care of the business they want to take care of, which does not involve going out and signing other people's free agents.
Reactions. Graz, if I were to say the New York Jets are Super Bowl contenders, is that an overreaction?
Unfortunately, I have to say yes. I think it's an overreaction. Yes, I know.
Here we go. All right. The same old, same old. It's Dak Prescott's fault. It's always Dak Prescott's fault. Dak Prescott wants too much money. Fine. Go ahead. If that's your thought on it, the one guy who has actually been playing consistently for the team his whole career, who actually is in the conversation of getting a second contract because he's played that well. Of course, he's the problem. The real problem here, folks, is the Joneses' mismanagement and lack of desire of trying to make the team better. I don't think that it's a lack of them wanting to win a Super Bowl again. I think it's just a lack of actually going out and taking some risk. And I don't understand this from Jerry Jones being an oil maverick, a guy who, you're literally drilling thousands of feet in the ground hoping that you hit oil. And if you don't, you lose out on a whole bunch of money. The same guy who bought the Dallas Cowboys that was losing $2 million a month and taking a risk in that now has nothing to lose. If the Cowboys end up having a bad season because they messed up on a couple of free agents, I dare say that fans would probably be happier to say, you actually tried, we appreciate it, you were trying to get some guys in here and it didn't work. Okay. As opposed to seeing the same thing year after year after year where we don't do anything different than what we've done before. And we keep expecting different results. And unfortunately, the blame, we get mad at Jerry for a minute or two, that's Joneses. But once the season starts, it all goes back to the players on the field. That Dak Prescott sucks, man. He's throwing interceptions. Well, he's having to throw interceptions because we can't run the football, and we're forcing the ball to receivers that may not be wide open because teams can play more nickel coverage against them. They can play shell zones, where they're keeping and making sure that you don't have as many options because you don't have a threat. And if your thing is Dak is not good enough to elevate the team, then why not elevate the damn team? Sometimes it's conversations that we have. If you really listen to what you're saying, it sounds stupid. The arguments people make that let's just get Dak and let's get somebody else who can't play and we'll win more. So who's crazier? You or the Joneses? All I care about is I want to see our team win. That's what I want to see. It gets to be hard sometimes being a Dallas Cowboys content creator. It just is. Hope y'all have a great day. Got to head up to Culpeper and work on the farmhouse and things. tonight we'll be on Cowboys Cave. Shout out to Cowboys Cave. They've invited me on the show tonight to hang out, have conversations about the Cowboys, and I'm looking forward to that. I was hoping that K9 Kelly was going to go to the draft again this year. We had a ball last year, and we'll definitely still be having a ball. I can't believe that 3 weeks from today we'll be waking up in Detroit with game time